Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Gopinath. Distinguished Toastmaster Vidhya Bhupalan, let's take in bites. Let's take in bites, distinguished Toastmaster Vidhya Bhupalan.
I always wanted sharp tools in my kitchen. Keeping them sharp helped me finish my work effectively. So naturally, I started sharpening the knife with a knife cutler. The knife that I used to sharpen, the knife cutler used to be okay for the first 2 weeks. But eventually, after 2 to 3 weeks, I started looking for the knife cutler once again. Need not say, during the COVID times, the knife cutlers stopped visiting our colony. And with all the workload and literally overloaded cooking times, it became really difficult for me to handle it. Though initially it was looking negligent, at one point in time, it was very frustrating. And one day I totally got annoyed. Out of frustration, I just snatched the knife. I started scratching it on the ummi, which is kept at my kitchen. Within minutes, I realized it was sharp and it exactly met my requirements. However, I also dealt with a parallel thought. While this was a well-known Stone Age technique and a recursive routine, why was it I became so dependent on a knife cutler and created anxiety? A very good morning, Toastmasters and esteemed guests. In the similar lines, with respect to strategic relationship, it's very important to be up to date with the rate of growth in the cutting edge technology, to get connected with people, converse with people during the available like short times that we have. Naturally, we tend to have some random courses to get ourselves updated with the cutting edge technologies, or we find some flashy subscriptions through which we can learn from the e-learning portals. And worst case scenarios, if it's very pressing situation, then we go ahead for an in-person training sessions. On a lighter note, we become dually guilty in this method. You know why? Number one, we feel guilty for not putting our fullest of effort. Number two, for the extra money that I paid from my pocket in the name of subscriptions. So now, looking at the knife example, I started thinking about how to come out of this trap. What is the simplest way to acquire knowledge consistently? Surprisingly, the matter of fact is that it is also a Stone Age technique and a recursive routine. So now, say me, how many of you actually take 2 to 3 breaks in a day to read your WhatsApp messages or newspaper articles or whatsoever it is? If you can raise hands. Yeah, thank you. Thanks. I see people raising. So it's very natural that we take breaks as an adult. And today, for the matter of speech, I want you to imagine how it would be if we just do this, what I'm suggesting today in this meeting, for the next 21 days. You would naturally encounter with an emotional fear factor when you're conversing with someone about the unknowns. If a person is asking you about some questions and you're not known about it, you refine to speak about that particular topic. Now start collecting this list as a checklist in your, either in your notepad or in your phone or whatsoever available devices you're having. And now when you know the items which you have natural fear to address, you go ahead and group them with tags. You go ahead and group them with tags saying this belongs to this line cited items, and this is for A, this is for B, and this is for C. Once when the line cited items are identified, you can also have one more extra category where you put miscellaneous items and say this is something which is random. I can take it in bits and like randomly. Once when this tagging is over, now start attempting during this 4 to 5 breaks in a day on one particular line cited item. When you attempt it one by one based on this tags, eventually you'll see that you feel you have gained the required knowledge to start conversing with people in the new cutting edge technology. So this is something which I have personally experienced and it had worked for me. But if you have questions like, Vidya, are you really saying that this is going to work? I would say yes, because uh, there is a natural phenomenon that's happening in our body, which is called the secretion of dopamine. The secretion of dopamine helps us give the sense of accomplishment and pride within ourselves. Now, how the factor of pride is going to come is by the matter of fact that the list that you have identified is going to be staked out each and every time that you have acquired the new knowledge that you have identified in the list. So when you see the list that you have in the hand is reducing and the unknowns are coming down, you naturally feel more confident to go and approach people and speak on diverse topics. So that's where the magic lies. So this feel of striking out one after another gives us a very positive feel about ourselves and helps us go look forward for more topics and keep us updated every day in a regular manner. So now, having said this, you might ask me, Vidya, do you think this is going to work for a long time? And is it going to be really effective? Because you're saying like the bite-sized readings are the one which are going to take me to converse comfortably. Yes, it would help us to converse comfortably, but you have to really master it. Then there's something which you have to really think upon and do it with religious practice. You have to start engaging in meaningful conversations with like-minded people and practicing it continuously with a group of like-minded people, like what we are doing today in Toastmasters. So I think the practice gets that topic reminded often, and we don't tend to forget the learnings that we have gone through in our earlier days. So this is something which I have tried out and it had worked for me. And I'm suggesting this to all Toastmasters who are here today with us. And please try out and get back to me if it's working for you. And I'd be happy to learn from each one of you how to improve this particular technique even more organized. So with that, I would like to hand over the podium to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those